Good morning, Bengaluru. Let's give a huge round of applause to the Startup Expo team for conducting such a successful event. Give it up to the prestigious panelists who are sitting in front of you, and also the amazing host. इन्होंने इतना अच्छा स्टार्ट किया, हमने इतनी अच्छी पूजा की है स्टार्टिंग में. Let's keep the energy on. And last but not the least, let's give a huge round of applause to all of us who have taken time to come on Friday morning, listening to all of us, right? And I promise that these 2 days are going to be completely worth it. This is the first event, the first panel discussion that we are going to do in this particular event. और यहाँ पे जो focus होगा वो है Bharat and impact startups. I'm going to do it in both Hindi and English because when I say Bharat, Bharat is in Hindi, right? So all of us can understand really well. We have Vasanthika with us. She's a corporate lawyer and works with startups, helping them set up, raise funds, and with their general business growth. The questions would be around government schemes to enable inclusion. We have Abhijith. He's a CA and works closely with startups and SMEs, primarily helping founders become investor ready and scale sustainably. The questions would be around importance of finance and optimized execution for Bharat and impact startups. We have Parikshit. He's a founder of the Capital Case. I'm very sorry. He works closely with SMEs, family businesses and startups. The questions would be around how to build a business investable and future ready. And last but not the least, we have Dr. Anita. They're the co-founder of Vistarik Robotics, and the questions would be around innovation for inclusion. And myself, Ritvik Dashora, I'm a CFA charter holder, CEO and co-founder of Tradomate.one, the best performing trade analysis platform built for the serious traders. We are helping more than 2 lakh traders on a monthly basis. And if you are actually facing some losses recently because of the geopolitical tensions in the stock market, then Tradomate.one is for you. Maybe you can check it right now. So let's start with the discussion right away. I have the first question to Mr. Parikshit. So, hello sir.
Hello.
Parikshit, you draw a sharp line between startups that grow and startups that are truly investable. For Bharat-focused impact startups, where the market is massive, but unfortunately, margins are thin, what does investor ready, quote unquote, investor ready actually look like?
So investor ready basically looks like how long the startup's going to last. Is it just going to be a 5-year cycle, or it's here for the long-term game? Because the only thing that ends up being a very big business is someone who has a vision of the future, who believes that can contribute to India, not just contribute to their pockets. So right now, the harsh reality is a lot of the startups that we see that we work with, they only focus on how much they're going to make. What's the valuation? That does not work. You're just fooling yourself. You're fooling people around you, people who trust you and believe in you. But there are certain startups who have the ambition to make it so big that they think of generating employment, having that long-term effect. So that's what now startup need to portray and say, okay, I'm here in it for the long term. And a lot of investors as well want to see that, because they just don't want to have a short-term gain. They want a multi-generational income. That's how you generate wealth as well. So right now, the only thing I'll sum this up with is startups, ask yourself one question. If I'm in this, what is my purpose? If your purpose is money, get out of the game. If your purpose is to build a legacy, go for it.
Got it. Focus on the long term, right? And talking about the long term, in terms of investor readiness, because I come from the financial modeling background and I am running a startup as well, we have to focus on financial projections to actually give a long-term vision about the scalability of the business as well. So the next question is to Mr. Abhishek about the financial models only. Abhishek is someone who builds financial models and you're an expert in it. When a Bharat-focused founder walks into your office, what's the single biggest financial blind spot that you see?
Thank you for the question, Ritvik. Firstly, thank you everyone for coming here, and thank you Eventex for giving an opportunity. So to answer your question, be it a Bharat-focused startup or an impact startup, one primary blind spot what I have noted is they confuse scale with sustainability. So it's like they have a strong demand, they have bigger large TAM narratives, but when it comes to unit economics clarity, they lack a lot of visibility there. It's more like so when you are scaling up, you'll have to spend more, the profitability will reduce. So that clarity is what I've seen founders lack in most of the cases. So in order to understand that, they have to have more clarity on the repeat customer behavior. What is the actual CAC going to be, even not actual, some rough estimate or something like that. So that is something what I see as a biggest blind spot for most of the startups.
To conclude, we can say that unit economics, we're talking about not just revenue, but also on the profitability being EBITDA positive, right? Unfortunately, for the early stage startups, if we are focusing on say 0 to 1 journey, and we have been in that part of journey as well at Tradomate, unfortunately, we cannot look at the profitability from day one. Although we have the vision, but we cannot focus on it, at least from the business point of view, from the projections point of view, and that's where the government schemes play a very important role. So next question is to Vasanthika. Many founders don't even know about these types of government schemes, right? From the legal and policy standpoint, what's the low-hanging fruit that founders are simply leaving on the table all the time?
Yeah. Hi, thanks for the question. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see so many people who have turned up. Today is a holiday. Hopefully, we'll have more people coming in as the day progresses. Yeah. So for founders, there are many schemes so many are unaware of. But if you look at the low-hanging fruit, I would say the first few things you need to do as you're setting up is, one, your DPIIT registration. That lists you as a startup. You get that, that will give you a tax break for 3 years in a row. Now again, when you use that, you have to use it wisely, because your first year will most likely be recouping your costs. You will wait for a couple of years and then you turn profitable, at which time you should start. So a person like Abhijith will, be the right one to say when you should activate it, because you have to be able to be on top of your numbers, forecast, and ensure that you're taking that break at that point of time, but you have to register. Another very important registration is MSME registration. So you get that done, it's very simple. Udyam portal, you go there, you get registered. Both of these also give you breaks in paying for your trademark, patent. You get to keep your IP and your costs come down. There are a lot of benefits. You can get loans, because of these things. And MSME also, you have to get paid within 45 days for MSME. Unlike, so if your client delays your payment, MSME commission will step in. So if you are MSME registered, every quarter you file a return saying that these many people, you received all your money in time, or anybody has taken more time. If anybody has taken longer, MSME commission will, go back and say, hey, there is an MSME, you can't delay payment. So these are a couple of things that the government has created very quietly, and they have been in existence. If you have a startup registration, every state comes up with schemes for startups in the state, so you have to be registered in that state. So one mistake I have seen a lot of founders make in the big hurry is, they will say, my hometown is somewhere, and I live here, but I'll therefore go to that place for my registered office, but we are all sitting here in Bangalore. I have so many clients who have their registered office somewhere in NCR, but they are here and they have so many employees here. They're actually creating employment in one place, but you registered in another. And every state comes out with schemes, and the states also want employment to be generated in their state. So you are eligible neither here nor there. You should try and plan these things in advance and ensure that you will be where you are, setting up. So these are some of the low-hanging fruits. Then another, once you're a startup, is your Startup India funding. You get grants. And this is Remember, it's a grant, it's not capital, it's not debt. It's plain and simple 20 lakh rupees in your pocket if you're able to show that you're doing something of use, something that's valuable and impactful. And that will help you also set up. So, without diluting yourself, these are 3 low-hanging fruits. There are some more credit schemes and others, and we can talk about them as we go. But these 3 things, very low-hanging fruits, I would highly recommend. And from that, you would start, ensuring that you've built your IPs around it, all of that. So these are, to start with.
When the host did a quick poll, I think most of the people raised their hands. They are either building their startups or are ambitious to build their own startup. I think this is a very good advice. The first thing that she mentioned was DPIT certificate, right? अगर आप notes ले रहे हैं तो please लिखते जाइए. Second thing is MSME and the third thing is Startup India Fund. 20 lakh rupees means a lot in early stage startup.
And you can get up to 40 also.
We can get up to 40 also. That's
and
so
there is
amazing.
another scheme for which MSMEs also can get a separate, MeitY has given something. So there are multiple schemes. The Startup India is, very much better known, but MeitY also has a grant. So there are multiple ways of raising grants, not just capital or loan.
हमारे स्टार्टअप एक्सपो के स्टार्ट 15 मिनट्स में हमने इतनी इंपॉर्टेंट एक एडवाइस ली है. प्लीज टेक अ नोट ऑफ इट एंड वी ऑलवेज फोकस ऑन नॉट ओनली द आइडिया बट ऑल्सो थिंग्स विच आर अवेलेबल टू अस बाय द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, राइट?
Very important part is when you're registering for startup, they don't audit what you say and all. Obviously, they take people on good faith. It's a form you fill, but you have to explain what is it that you're doing different. You can't say that I am opening a restaurant. Everybody is opening a restaurant. So, what is it that you're doing impactful? What is the innovation? What is it that you will be creating? Those things are very important in getting that Startup India registration. So if you're doing something that's different, you're creating, you're getting into some new tech, something that will be, improvements on what are there, you're making things different. Those are the ones who can get the startup registration. Very important too.
Very important point. Innovation comes first, right? Even all the events that the government organizes focuses heavily on innovation. And innovation is not just AI, by the way. We always use AI and innovation as a synonym of each other, although with time ये होते जा रहा है, but innovation can be in any space. And actually the next question to Anita is about innovation only. So coming from 29 years of engineering and now building in India, what does innovation for inclusion mean to you?
Thank you. Firstly, good morning, everybody. And on a Good Friday, we are all gathering. Great. Thank you so much. Very importantly, coming to this, the kind of a question, inclusion. Let's say if I'm talking about inclusion, I'm talking about in that sense where I'm asking those companies, let's say the startups and the largest companies in India, now connecting to, let's say, for example, America or Europe, are we now talking about inclusiveness over there and come with an innovation? This is the time for us to think. Next thing is, are we talking about different races? I'm big, I'm first, I'm last. Already we are seeing the dictatorship behavior across the world. So this is another important topic. Third is, when you are coming into this, the particular race, now man and woman comes into place. So who is the first? Where is the inclusiveness? Where is that innovation? Where is that leap? If you see Europe, you have at least minimum of 30% on the board of the management. Women are leading it. The largest companies like Siemens, BMW are being led by those women, or up to 40-50%. That depends. And even the innovation, there are many statistics that have come up that the surveys have shown that women-led innovations are really on the top priority. Now, at the last, we are coming with the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and where are those people coming in, even in the management board, or even they are going to drive it, or this is seen as an opportunity. So this is something to do with the humanity as a perspective. Now, coming to the next level depth that we are talking is the kind of innovation. That's where we are really lacking. Now we are talking about democratization of all these technologies, and we had that Bharat Manch, and we had so many interactions. How how many have come forward and said that, look, this is the way that we are doing. And we still know that somebody in the east or the west are sitting and trying to do the kind of technology that can disrupt the humanity itself. And that can disrupt everyone's life in the career, even the governance, for example. Are we really equipped? There is many big challenges, and still there are untapped opportunities that we still have to put our hand into and get into the depth of it. So there are a lot of opportunities. That's what I was telling Madam also, that we have the International Space Station floating all around, and nobody is actually able to dock it in a proper direction because the docking is missed very ghastly. So we are not able to connect to that, and that is the opportunity that I'm talking about, that we all need to start thinking in the kind of innovation perspective. It can be anything in any direction. There could be any topic. But to do this, India lacks, again, very important topic, leadership. We all are good administrators. We have been seeing administration in a very good extent, and leadership is something we really need, the high quality education and connectivity from the bottom. And unless until these leaders come into the effect and they are in that particular driving seat, everyone can sit and dream about startups. We can get a lot of motivation, but anyway, going forward is a nightmare. So this is where I would like to leave some messages to you, that we need to work a lot. It is not just, on the surface level, that as we are thinking, if at all this nation related, let's say the Bharat startup founder has to really think about Bharat, has to really go deep down, try to become a manager first, leader next, then think of what is to be done in the international market, so that the Bharat has that pride to go forward.
Okay, so right now India is lacking, but it's in a right direction. And hopefully in next a few years, we will surpass maybe like Europe as well. That's the hope. In the second round of discussion, I would go deeper into all these topics, right? So starting with Parikshit, where founders are all like often firefighting for survival. I'm talking about the 0 to 1 journey, right? Most of the people are just focusing on how will I survive for the next month? Will I be able to pay the salary in the next month or not? So survivability is an issue. The second is, how realistic is it to ask them to think 10 years ahead if the survivability for the next month is a problem?
That's a very interesting question. Simple. One word: ego. First of all, throw your ego out of your office, sit and understand get a reality check. A lot of the founders live in La La Land. Okay, yeah, I am the one. I made the business that big. So there's a saying, right, in Hindi, har gali mein kutta sheri hota hai. So you have to come out of the box. Pardon my language, but this is reality. You have to face the truth. That's why there's another saying, the truth shall set you free. So first thing, get the ego out of the way. Accept it, yes, I'm facing an issue. Understand, get someone on board, get a fine mentor. Picking the right mentor matters the most. Don't pick a mentor just because he's a billionaire. Pick the mentor who resonates with your moral values, your ethics, your growth, your vision. So and alongside that, stop micromanaging. Don't think that you can do everything. That's why we are humans. We cannot do everything together. Otherwise, we would be God. Sometimes gods also make mistakes. That's another thing. So ensure that you have the right people where you don't have to instruct them what needs to be done. They need to tell you how to grow your business. And before you find the right people, ask yourself one very important question. What is the definition of loyalty for me? If I can clarify that within myself, that this is what loyalty means for me, I will be able to pick the people who will stay loyal to me and my business. Because it's not just self-growth, it's collective growth. So as I'm a multi-generational entrepreneur, so I've lived all these pain points, basically born in them. So this is what we learn, even in families. Now, there's again another saying, don't teach your father how to make babies. But at one point, I had to have conversations with my dad. And we never spoke for 6 to 8 months. So sometimes, yes, you will face difficulties because the previous generation does not like to be heard. In the sense, they don't want to listen to the flaws. Ego. So once you have ego out of the way, when you're more open-minded, get okay, let's think of a bigger picture. Let me do something where the next generation can say, yeah, it's because of him we are here. The best example for this, Jamshed Tata. 126 years later, Tata still stands strong because he had a vision. If he didn't see it, Tata wouldn't be existing. And he didn't do it with ego. He did it with his heart, soul, and a vision for India. That's what every entrepreneur needs to focus on. Use these guys as a point of reference, not just a good topic to speak about, but try to understand how they've operated. Once you catch that, your whole thought processes change. And then you move from firefighting to building a team that makes that actual impact, what India is looking for.
Ego management is the first thing. Second is finding a good mentor. And the third thing is focusing on discipline, because that is the thing which will help you focus on the long term, right? So next question is on discipline only, Abhijith. From your experience, can impact and financial discipline actually genuinely coexist?
Like interesting question. See, the thing is that obviously it can coexist if you are designing your business in such a manner that from day one onwards, you want these things to coexist. Because see, in most of the cases, the thing is like impact is a mission and economics is mostly seen like as an afterthought. So when you undergo kind of a DD or like, you know, some sort of evaluation from a third party, that's when you understand the importance of financial discipline in most of the cases. So I have worked with founders who have started their business, like this is their first venture. I've worked with founders who has already got successful exit in the past and they are building their second or third venture. So the difference what I've seen in these people is that, so in the initial, if it's a first generation founder or if it's their first business, typically like kind of, they don't want to spend much on the financial discipline angle. So they just want to build the business, they want to scale it. So that's the prime focus there. But when it comes to like kind of founders who have done previous ventures, I see that from day one onwards, they want to engage somebody. They want to have a proper, the timer is up, I think. So they want to have a proper finance team in place and such things because they know that it's hard there. And again, coming back to the this unit economics thing, I would want to touch upon that as well. Because like when you're building something with financial discipline or like if you want to scale, it should be scalable with when you increase the numbers also. The unit economics should improve at scale. So that is another thing what I need to like kind of focus.
Got it. We just take 2 minutes more, guys. Just a couple of questions. So Vasanthika, giving you a scenario, say hiring transgenders and building for tier 3 cities or markets, what legal structures actually protect them and give them credibility with investors? If you can just answer in 30 seconds if possible.
30 seconds is going to be tough. I'll try my best. So there are laws in India. We have laws that say that protect disabled and for employment of transgenders. So when you are getting into that space, it's very essential that you have your HR policies in place to ensure you've covered it, because this is one thing I say about compliance. It's important to be compliant and also demonstrate that you're compliant. So you need to have your policies and you have to be able to show that. So when you're taking, for example, before you start hiring either transgender or disabled people, ensure you have a ramp. Is your office wheelchair friendly? Do you have, if a visually disabled person comes in, can they find their way? Do you have the tactile, markings? Or do you have a common, used restroom? So how are you doing all of that? So those are very essential, and we have regulations around all of that. And when you go to, so I would say your immediate thing is, as you're scaling, to ensure that your premises, your offices are friendly to accommodate all of this. And that is what will come with your policies also. So then regular training and awareness. Because people need to understand how they're supposed to deal with that. What do you mean by, all of this? So that is one part of that.
You can elaborate. We have some more time.
Yeah. So in addition, it's not only about these, we also need to look at, we are hiring marginalized, people from marginalized communities. There will be language barriers. So your impact businesses, you may say that we are going, to some distant place, we're going to hire people from some, far off. How will you communicate? Communication also matters. It's very essential to, build the awareness, because it's going to be culturally very different, right? What we speak here, we may argue, and it may be a normal argument, while if I go into a village, they may feel that she's a person with authority, and I will speak to them with the same tone that I speak to him, and we both will argue and go away happy, while they will feel I scolded. Simple things I'm saying. And these are soft aspects. It's not about just the legal one. But when you have those kind of tones and and those kind of issues, somebody may say, I was harassed. And then you will get into a legal thing, and the legal will come, and but the point is about having created that entire culture in place. It's about how you're building the culture, and that is your top-down thing, which comes with all your policies in place, and the policies are written not only by the lawyers, legal and people all put together, HR, and you may have a culture expert if you're building for impact with different cultural and language requirements. So these are, some examples that I'm giving offline.
Okay. So building culture not only on the papers, but also on ground, in the office, in practice.
Right? You have to be able to demonstrate that. That's what your investor is going to want. If they're going to fund you and say that, okay, we've got all of this, but we are just one bunch of people wearing suit and tie sitting inside, it will not build that impact, right?
So Dr. Anita mentioned in the first question that in India, we still lack this a bit, and we are on the right path. So the next question, the last question of this panel, Dr. Anita, what's the honest gap in how India treats innovation that's also socially driven?
Socially driven initiatives. First of all, there is no CSR available. That's what we were discussing. So the CSRs are, I don't know where the money is going, but the actual CSRs are not happening, and government need to channelize this, and that's where even I have directed that request letter to the finance minister, and so many things are in the place. But where is that innovation? For example, if we should be proud in across India. Karnataka is the first state to have 400 plus gadgets for the inclusive community, right? So basically, we are blind, we are basically physically challenged, or anybody else. So we have 400 plus gadgets, and this is the only state in entire India to have made so many innovations. But is it reaching those people? This is one question. Off-the-shelf products. And off-the-shelf, there are so many things which are coming in. But is it going to be impactful? Even we made one, the first, the trial, the exoskeleton, we bought it, the medical equipment, and it was the exoskeleton, we made it 100% India, including motor, sensor, everything, we manufactured it in India, and we bought it, we brought it to the market. But we failed, because the affordability is another biggest question. So where is the market? How do I reach it? And where is that particular CSR, that bump that we are trying to get that created? So these are some of the challenges that we see in the startups, but we need to see to it that there is a lot more that we need to circumvent in order to make this a positive place and more happening place. Even in terms of my idea that I'm coming with, my idea is today, if I'm putting that on a PowerPoint presentation or in patent, my next minute, my idea is finished. It's over. So it is no more an idea, it is out in public, and everything is out and out. And I need to be having that leadership and more innovation coming in to make my business successful, sustainable, and then again, legacy is very important. And that is where I think we need to really think, how do we channelize this? And for this, someone really needs a training. And the future entrepreneurship is with lot of new initiatives and ideas. That's where I would like to leave this message. Thank you.
Perfect. Legacy is very important, and entrepreneurship should be focused on innovation and socially driven. A huge round of applause, guys, to the panelists. Itna acha discussion hua. Thank you so much. Yeah, Vasanthika, you have some points.
Because she mentioned CSR fund lacking, I just want to add one very quick thing, that it can be structured. Business, I know companies can't get CSR. So this is a thought. When you're into impact, you might end up doing some free services, and there are some things that are business. So you have to look at a dual structure. You may have a Section 8 company on one side, and then you have a for-profit company. You can keep your products which will sell and earn in one place, and your impact in the other side, which can then earn CSR to sustain. So it has to be carefully thought through and planned and pre-planned, because you will, after you got started, it will be hard for you to hive off and say that now this is CSR, right? So this has to be done very mindfully, consciously, right from the upfront, that you are able to, run and straddle both together. And eventually when your for-profit gets profitable, even that profit that has to compulsorily go to CSR will go back to, funding the entity that you've also got. So, this entire thing has to be thoughtfully planned and is something that is doable. So, I just wanted to.
Perfect. I think that's a great end of the first session. कितना अच्छा हमने end किया आप लोगों के लिए. Huge round of applause to the entire panelists. Abhijith, Dr. Anita, Parikshit, and Vasanthika. And signing off, myself, Ritvik Dashora, CEO and co-founder of Tradomate.one. Again, if you're interested in exploring stock market, please check out Tradomate.one. Thank you so much.
Once again, thank you all the speakers.